I think that I wrote one book, which was a criticism of historical Jesus research. And then I wrote the second book, Living Jesus, as a kind of more positive appreciation. And I think, I like what Professor Hopkins said about, the historical contextualization is a really important aspect of coming to know Jesus, because we learn as much history as possible so that we understand the texts better. My problem with the kind of historical Jesus that was represented, for example, by the notorious Jesus Seminar, or by Robert Funk, Honest Jesus, is that they really were, they not only bracketed Christian faith, but they actually rejected it. And so what you had was only a historical reconstruction. It wasn't really reading the Gospels historically. It was reading a history that was abstracted from the Gospels. And so my effort was to say, yes, history is important, but along the lines of what Dr. Hopkins said at the end of his presentation, what really counts is how we learn about Jesus theologically, spiritually, as a way of transforming our own lives. And that's what my project has been.
Within the Black church tradition predominantly, and this is what C. Eric Lincoln and Lawrence Mamiya talk about in their work, the Black church and the African American experience. Cheryl Sanders talks about this in her work, Empowerment Ethics, that the Black church emerged out of the revivalism spirit of 19th century America. And so it was out of that context that the church understood and held firm to the lordship of Jesus, the authority of Scripture, the incarnation of Christ. God understood God in the Trinitarian modality. So this was very much serves as a kind of the vein in which reading and understanding Jesus as interested in people where they are, not just for their redemption, not just for their liberation bodily, it will physically, socially, culturally, politically, but interested in their redemption. So we kind of, I think Henry Mitchell calls it a whole theology, if you will. You have an interest in the salvation of one's body, soul, and spirit. So this kind of redemption quality is very much important and very much taken serious within the larger Black church tradition. We talk about being saved. We may mention and talk about the notion of being born again, but we also have very keen interest in take very serious the issues of poverty, of homelessness, of equality, of yes, we're in the world, but we're not of the world, but yes, we're in the world. And so this idea of being treated with equality, which is how I think looking at Jesus is emblematic of being one who lives a flourishing life, lives an ethical, moral life, lives a true life, a good life. We see that within Scripture. And I think you find that embodied within the church, Jesus as liberator, emancipator, but Jesus as also spiritual redeemer. I think you find both of those qualities really resonant within Black church tradition. And so I think oftentimes you see within the Theological Academy and within academe, this separation that you can only have one or the other. I don't think it has to be mutually exclusive. I think Jesus, yes, is a liberator, but Jesus, yes, is redeemer. Redeemer spiritually, theologically, and that there is the reality of a supernatural world. Supernatural reality does not have to be dismissed in understanding Jesus as liberator and even historical figure.